Welcome back to Dawson Design Production Company. We're going to do this video in two parts. Today we are talking about 12 reasons I miss my iPhone since I switched to Pixel. So I miss iPhone because lock screen customization. The lock screen on this is pretty much you can have a big time or you can have a small time, and that's all you can do to change the lock screen. That's probably exclusive to the Pixel, and there are ways to change the lock screen. You just lose some security things, and the Pixel doesn't have that Android feature where you can set a location where it's okay for it to be unlocked without you having to authenticate, or you can have it if it's connected to a certain Bluetooth device, or it's always unlocked when you're in your car. This doesn't have that feature, which is commonly on Androids. It's not on the Pixel. I don't know why. I really wish that was on the Pixel. Anyway, lock screen customization, just not there. On that note, if audio is playing on the phone, you can't pause it from the lock screen. You can only turn it all the way down with the volume button. You can't pause audio. You can't do any audio playback interaction on the lock screen. Neither do you have stackable widgets. I wish there was stackable widgets like on iPhone on the Pixel, and you cannot stack widgets. And I just think that the widget situation is kind of lacking. There's these kind of nice looking playful widgets with clear backgrounds, but I don't know. I don't know that this is all that useful. It just kind of looks cool. So that was disappointing with the Pixel. I miss Find My. Now, of course, this does have a Find Device app, and if I log in, I can see where all of my Google devices are, things that are logged into Google that have Google location turned on. So that's not very useful. It is nice to be able to Google where is my phone on my computer or on any device that's logged in to my account, and my phone, I can ping my phone from any Google, like just Google it and it works. But yeah, Find My iPhone is something I really miss, not being able to use AirTags, which are just a great product that Apple makes, and not being able to see where all of my family is, because it's going to be hard to get all of my family to use one specific app for tracking each other when there's different security issues, especially with Life360 selling location data. Yeah, Life360 is probably the closest thing to Find My for Android. I don't know, it's just, I do enjoy Life360, and I use it with my brother to see where he is, and we can see where each other are and how fast we're driving, and that Life360 is good, but they also sell your location data, and that's kind of not cool. Next is AirPlay. I miss AirPlay, being able to AirPlay my phone to my TV. I have a Chromecast, but that means I have to switch over to the Chromecast on the TV, and that's a big hassle. So AirPlay, I really miss that. Being able to AirPlay to my HomePods is, it's annoying that I can't Bluetooth to them, and so I do really miss AirPlay, as well as AirDrop. I super miss AirDrop. I use a MacBook Pro, and I want to be able to AirDrop things back and forth, but you just can't with Pixel, so I have to like wormhole.app it over to my between devices, and if I want to share something from this to someone else, it means I've got to be like, go to this website, scan this code, or whatever. That's just kind of a hassle. Not having any sort of AirDrop, sad, but what are you going to do? There's not really anything Google can do to fix that, because most of my friends are iPhone users. So it's not like Google can hack into AirDrop, but that is something I miss when I'm not on iPhone. I miss the Shortcuts app. Now, this is going to sound dumb, but I miss having a built to work with the specific phone that I'm using, icon changer, built to work with the specific phone that I'm using. When I connect to this Bluetooth, do this thing, just any app that I install that does that kind of thing, it's just going to be janky and not quite work just like Shortcuts. It's just not going to work as well as Shortcuts. And I think Apple does it best by having a built-in Tasker-like app that does all those things. And I don't have to worry about, is the app currently installed? Is it doing what it's... I've got friends that have Androids, and I'll be like, can't you do this with your Android? Like, isn't your Android all customizable and stuff? When I have my iPhone and I show them what I can do with Shortcuts, and they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I don't have the certain app installed. And the fact that you need a external third-party app to do Shortcuts like stuff, that's just annoying. Next up is MagSafe, which I have gotten this MagSafe case to put on my phone. The leather one, I had a MagSafe battery on the leather one, and when I pulled it off, the MagSafe ring pulled off with it. But this case has the MagSafe ring embedded in the case. So I have a MagSafe case for my Pixel. It doesn't work exactly the same, but it works pretty well. It's just sad because I like to go naked with my phones, and I can't when I want to use MagSafe. So I miss MagSafe. Something else that's annoying is like auto rotate is really slow, and often like can't figure out which way the phone is. And I know there's issues with auto rotate on iPhone, but I just want all you iPhone users to know it's not nearly as bad as it is on Android. Like it takes so long to switch, and sometimes it just doesn't even switch. And I just auto rotate on this is not very good. It does have something where if I rotate my head with it, it doesn't rotate. That's a cool feature. I wish that was on iPhone, but I see why it's not, because like now I want it to rotate that way and it won't. I gotta hold it this way for like a good while and then rotate it, and then it does it. So it's a head tracking feature that would work much better on iPhone, because iPhones have the sensor array in the notch or in the dynamic island. It needs to be added to iPhone, but if it's added, it needs to be much better than this, because this is just slow at like rotating. And so auto rotate is something that really annoys me. Good video camera is something I miss. I miss having a video camera on my phone that is, I don't know, it's just not as good on the Pixel as it is on the iPhone. And I do miss the iPhone's video camera. The pictures are good. People don't think that the pictures are good, because if I send a picture from my Pixel to an iPhone, to like message it, text it to an iPhone, the iMessage app compresses the out of that photo, and it just compresses it so that it looks like absolute garbage. That perpetuates the myth that Android phones have bad cameras, because iPhones don't like to receive them and show them in all of their glory. So if I take a picture on this, it looks really good on this, but then when I try to text it to you with an iPhone, your iPhone is going to make it look like shit. That's something that's really annoying about, not even about the Pixel. That is an iPhone issue. That's an issue with iPhones that Apple does. People think that these have bad cameras. So I know to put that in the list of things I miss about iPhone, it's not really something I miss about iPhone. It's something I'm angry at Apple for doing. It's kind of petty for Apple to do that to their competitors. And that's Apple's fault, but Android gets blamed. Something else I don't like about iMessage, the liked photos thing. This is more of a iPhone user issue. So in the past, if you liked one of my messages and I'm on an Android, it's going to come in as so-and-so liked, quote, and then my message. And that's just annoying. There's so many of those, and you've probably seen it in group chats, even if you're on an iPhone. And Google fixed that. Now I get a thumbs up mark. I get a emoji reaction on the Pixel, on the messaging app. And when I like something of an iPhone user's, the iPhone user gets a thumbs up emoji and then their message. And so iPhone users were like, hey, if you're getting those weird messages, that's just because you should switch to iPhone. And then Google fixes the issue, and iPhone users are like, hey, now I'm getting the weird messages, so you should switch to iPhone. You see what I'm saying here? Google fixed the issue, and iPhone users are still mad at Google. Google fixed the issue, and iPhone users are still like, hey, you should still get an iPhone because now it's annoying for me. That's another issue. People just don't realize that something changed, and now they're the ones getting the kind of crappy messages, and it's up to Apple now to fix it. And once Apple fixes it, it's fixed for good. We don't have to deal with this anymore. But Apple is utilizing their fan base to free advertise, push people to get iPhones, because the iPhone isn't playing nice with the Android. Finally, my final gripe with iMessage. Now, I love iMessage. Since I had an iPhone for years, people have my email address that is attached to my iPhone account. And when people text me, occasionally it goes to my iPhone and not to my phone number. The text messages are not being sent to my phone number like they should. They're being sent as iMessages to not my phone number, and that's annoying. Why is it default it's going to send to not my phone number random messages that I miss because I had an iPhone at one point? Random messages, I have to go into people's phones and delete my email address from their contact in order to get all of the texts that they send to me. That's dumb. That is also an Apple issue. Apple is not sending me the text, and then I get in trouble because I'm the one with an Android that didn't receive the text, even though your iPhone is the one that sent it to the wrong address. Your iPhone sent it to not my phone. It sent a text to my other devices and not my phone. So there's so many issues with iMessage in interacting with Android phones, and it's a purposeful thing. It's a purposeful thing that Apple makes iMessage not play well with Androids so that Androids look bad. But it's not an issue it's not an issue between Androids or anything. It's not an Android issue. It is an iPhone issue, but Android gets blamed for it. Moving on, I miss the flat sides of my iPhone. Now, this is not a common opinion. It's a unpopular opinion, but I do not like the rounded sides of the phone. They're too slippery. The iPhone has square sides, and I can hold it without worrying about it slipping out of my hand because it's firm, flat sides. I can hold it, and people say it's uncomfortable. I think it's just rounded enough to be comfortable. This is just my opinion with the iPhone. I think it is comfortable to hold, and it's firmly in my hand and not going to slip out of my hand and fall. I just think it's easier to hold an iPhone with the flat sides. Next, it is easy to change the brightness on an iPhone. On this, I have to swipe down, and then I have to swipe down again, and then I have to change the brightness like that. I swipe down, and then if I accidentally swipe down on one of my notifications or a couple of my notifications, I can accidentally just expand a bunch of notifications and not get to the brightness. So I've got to remember, swipe from the top, and then swipe from the top again, and then change the brightness, and that's too many steps. But that's a small gripe compared to the fluid UI of iPhone is just better than Android. If I do this, go here, it's very sharp. Every animation is just super sharp, and there's not the bounciness of, it's just not very fluid, the movement, and I don't really like the movement of Android. It's too rigid, it's too sharp, and it needs to be rounder or more fluid. It's too solid. But that's just a simple gripe. I just think iPhone animations are smoother and more fluid, and they just look better. That's about all I have for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe so that you don't miss next week's video about 12 things I love about Pixel and about Android. Comment below. What are your thoughts? What do you like about each thing? Later.